Hello, good morning, and welcome to the 29th MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting. This event is being brought to you in an auditorium that has taken into consideration all the COVID-19 safety protocols. My name is Kojo Akoto Boateng. Now, today the theme is on the changing face of retail in Ghana, scaling successfully with innovation and e-commerce. The changing face of retail in Ghana, scaling successfully with innovation and e-commerce. We are going to have a great conversation with 5 panel members who are experienced in their fields. Most of them are into the retail industry. Most of them are into business enablement. And they've got quite a lot of years of experience to share with us here on the MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting. And since we are in the Customer Service Week and the Customer Service Month, let me say a happy Customer Service Week to all customers of MTN and to all those of you watching us on MTN Ghana's Facebook page and YouTube page. Now, why are we having this conversation? We're having this conversation because nobody prepared for COVID-19. It came, it hit us, and we've had to social distance, we've had to work from home. And a lot of us have had to do business in unconventional ways, ways that really are becoming conventional now. If you want food these days, you order online. If you want hair, you order online. If you want any service, most of us end up ordering online. How is retail faring in these times? How can we innovate? And what are the opportunities for all of us to take advantage of in these times? Basically, we are going to weave the conversation around these three themes that I just mentioned. But before we go on, let me introduce our speakers for today, and then we'll have the welcome address and proceed to the conversation. Now, to my immediate left is a lady who has been in the news this whole period because the agency she heads has been critical in helping to revitalize business and recatalyze business for growth in these times. Her name is Kosi Nkiwayanki. She's the Executive Director for the National Board for Small Scale Industries. Kosi, welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Now, my next panelist, her name makes me miss a bit of physics in school. Her name is Emi Beth Aku Quantin. If you've done quantum mechanics, Quantin will just make you miss physics. She's the CEO of Kawamoka. It's a coffee brand authentically made in Ghana. A lot of us feel that coffee is not Ghanaian, we don't produce it here. Today she will tell us a bit more about her business and a bit more about the opportunities in the industry as well. And the next person, seated in the middle of the ladies, is somebody known in the industry when it comes to payment aggregation, value-added services in the telco space, when it comes to e-commerce. They're a Ghanaian and African giant. He's the CEO of Haptel. For those of you who love a bit of history, Haptel used to be SMSGH, and now is the biggest power player when it comes to enabling growth in the e-commerce space. Alex Bram, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Coach.
And the next person, if you look at the industry, you may think it's a small industry. Oh, hair. What is hair? What is the hair industry? Well, the industry is estimated to be valued at over $20 million annual sales in Ghana alone. Yes, that is the hair business. And the business is one that a lot of us know because my wife sometimes tells me, Kojo, I need hair. Can you get it from Hair Center? Whether I'm the one wearing it or not, I have to buy from her. Her name is Gwen Jima Ado. She's the CEO of the Hair Center, and she's also a business strategist. Gwen, welcome to the conversation. And the next person, also playing in an industry that sees a lot of exports, and the work she's doing is helping us reduce our imports and see a lot of export of Ghanaian cosmetic products. In fact, the average import value of cosmetics products into the country is 150 million Ghana cedis a year. But because of people like her, we are trying to cut that down and export more. She's the CEO of Skin Gourmet Limited. Her name is Violet A. Amwabeng. Violet, welcome to the conversation. So welcome to you as well to the conversation, those watching on Facebook, those watching on YouTube. You can follow the conversation. If you have any questions or any comments, you can put them in the comment section, and I'll get them and read them for you to be heard as well. Before we proceed, we are going to take a quick commercial from MTN, and then we'll have our welcome message from the Senior Manager, Enterprise Marketing and Portfolio Manager, Estella Sari. So quick message from MTN, and we'll have our welcome message. Stay with us.
Distinguished guests, good morning. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the 29th MTN Business Breakfast Meeting. Despite the times we find ourselves, we have made the time to meet, albeit both physically and virtually. While some would have wished we all met physically, many do tout the advantages of the digital meetings, key being the convenience and the cut in commute strain. These sentiments, often expressed, are a testament of the changing faces of our lives, which is heavily influenced by the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the years, MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting has brought to the fore topical issues that are relevant to businesses in any given time. Today's session will not be any different. We are turning our focus on one major aspect of businesses that has seen a drastic change as a result of COVID-19. The theme, the changing face of retail in Ghana, scaling successfully with innovation and e-commerce, adequately situates the discussion in context. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have some of the finest people in the industry to help us tease out the salient issues using their own experiences as key points of discussion. We have Kosi Intriwa Yankee, Executive Director, National Board for Small Scale Industries, NBSSI, Amy Beth Akukwanson, CEO Kawamoka Coffee, Alex Bram, CEO Haptel, Gwenjima Ado, Business Strategist and CEO The Hair Center, Violet Amabeng, CEO Skin Gourmet Limited. With these panelists, I have no doubt that today's session will be informative and exciting. On the occasion of Customer Service Week, I wish to thank you, our cherished customers, for your loyalty to the brand. Once again, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I urge all ladies to get screened as early detection does save lives. Distinguished guests, I'm happy once again to welcome you all to the 29th MTN Business Breakfast Meeting. Enjoy the program. Thank you.
Welcome back. That was Estelle Asari welcoming us to the event. And this month is the Breast Awareness Month, so do your best, educate those you can, and let's fight breast cancer. Now, before we get into the conversations, I'd like to announce that today's wow moment is giving presents to almost all of us. Now, how are we going to do that? We have 2 Samsung A20 devices as part of the Customer Care Week celebration to give out. So if you comment on our conversation and actively participate, in the end, we'll choose 2 people and reward them with the devices. Now, there's also the 1-month free subscription to MTN Business Messenger service. Now, the service enables you to run your business, give discounts, work on inventory, anything that helps you to run your business digitally and efficiently. The MTN Business platform gives you that. It's the MTN Business Manager and the MTN Business Messenger platform. Now, if you'd like to get this service for free, we are giving this service 1 month free service, 1 month free subscription to all those watching us. What we need you to do is to send your business name and your contact information to sales.mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. That email is rolling on the screen, sales.mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. Just send an email with your business name and your contact information, and the executives from MTN Business will contact you and help you enable the growth of your business. Now we are ready for the conversation. Before we get into anything, the theme is quite straightforward and quite self-explanatory. The changing face of retail in Ghana. I didn't know, as a Kumasi boy who loves to eat fufu, that it will get to a time where I'll sit in my house and order fufu with a USSD code and it will be delivered to me. Things have changed, and COVID has even changed things even more. Now, our theme, the changing face of retail in Ghana, scaling successfully with innovation and e-commerce, is something which is quite straightforward. But before we even get into the theme, I would like to know from each of you how business has been for you through these difficult times. So I'll start with you, Kosi. You manage a government agency which is at the heart of bringing people back up, businesses back up on their feet to grow the economy. How has managing the industry been for you through this period?
I think in the past 6 months, since March when COVID happened and the world changed, a lot has happened and a lot has changed for us as a government institution, the National Board for Small Scale Industries. I think for the first time, it made the world or Ghanaians know the relevance of having an agency such as the National Board for Small-Scale Industry to provide support and relief to the MSMEs in Ghana. And so a lot changed. One, what changed was how we even work with MSMEs across the world, across Ghana. So the first thing we did was look at technology, the importance of having technology as the backbone of the work we do to be able to reach out to as many people as possible. And so we incorporated technology in the work we do. What then also changed was access to finance. And so finance becoming a very important tool, and even in our programming, how do we relate that to the MSMEs that we work with? So providing a lot of funding, looking for funding, which the government committed 600 million initially and an extra 150 million Ghana cedis. This was made important because during this phase, we realized that as an institution mandated to strengthen and grow MSMEs, this was a great opportunity for us to provide relief to the MSMEs, some of whom are here, to ensure that they get the needed resources to be able to continue with the work that they do. So the way we do businesses, even how we deliver the trainings we have, being accessible and relevant to MSMEs or entrepreneurs who usually wouldn't have worked with us, became very, very important. And the kind of partnerships that we also had to work with, in terms of which partners were in the country, how do we work with them, how do we ensure that they were aligning with MSMEs to better provide them with the needed resources and relief, were all the changes that came up at the National Board for Small-Scale Industries. And there are so many changes that are happening and will continue to happen, because on all that was happening, government has also realized the importance, and it has always been the number one thing, which is private sector development. And so a lot of even what the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Trade and Industry is doing with regards to the CARES program, looking at how to sustain private sector post-COVID, is very fundamental to some of the changes that we are working on.
So a lot has happened the past 6 months, and if my understanding of your department or your institution is anything to go by, you've also seen a lot of financial inflows for institutions to help businesses because they need that right now.
Exactly.
And if I'm not wrong, this is about the year you've received the highest amount of funding for your institution.
Oh yes, I think that a lot of things have changed. When I took office in 2017, the budget really was approximately 19,000 Ghana cedis. And within 3 years, I think year on year, we've been able to grow the budget. And this was a commitment because I look here and I see a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I've been a woman entrepreneur myself. And one of the commitments I'd made to myself when I went back to school and developed a paper was, how do I use women entrepreneurs as the backbone for the Ghanaian economy growth? And so when COVID happened, I think it propelled that from moving from 19,000 Ghana cedis to almost 1 billion Ghana cedis in funding to support MSMEs across the nation. So we have Government of Ghana, because the President is really committed and dedicated to private sector development. So the $750 million CD commitment. We also have partners such as MasterCard Foundation, who came and backed us up with almost 90 million Ghana cedis. Already before that, in January, we were looking at how to push innovation and scale a lot of digitalization, and had brought in almost another 80 million. And so we had that going as well. And looking at COVID as well, we spoke to some of the partners, and one of the major things we are launching in a few days, if I should say so, is the digitalization partnership with GIZ, where we are looking at digitizing about 50 MSMEs, providing them with the requisite tools to be able to really facilitate trade and really get their products out there at a level they've never seen before. Okay. So all this cumulatively are some of the changes in terms of financing, in terms of programming, in terms of partnerships, and even some entrepreneurs who never knew about us and the importance of working with government entities have now heard about NBSSI in this era and are coming. And so the caliber of entrepreneurs coming on board, very interesting. And it's important because then they can also mentor and work with other women entrepreneurs, other male entrepreneurs, other MSMEs, and watch and accelerate the growth of that as well.
I would like you to tell me some of the innovative things that have been done now and some of the things that give us an opportunity for small-scale businesses to innovate and drive their growth for themselves and for the economy. So I'm talking innovation with you when I come back to you next. Now, Emmy, Kawamoka, They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
And
Now
in
we know
Ghana.
that. Now we know that we actually have a lot of that here in Ghana.
Yes, that's
You
right.
are a coffee producer. COVID-19 hit. How has business been? How has your industry been for you?
So Kawamoka is a coffee company that operates across the full value chain of the coffee spectrum. So that means that we work directly with our farmers to be able to obtain our coffee, and then we add value locally here in Ghana by roasting and packaging for sale, both wholesale and retail. The bedrocks of our company has always been resilience and innovation. As an entrepreneur, you have to have those. Particularly in this year that has seen unprecedented hardship, we've had to look internally and externally to ensure that we are innovating and remaining competitive. And this being Customer Appreciation Week, we'd like to also take a moment to just thank all those who've continued to be with us and support us throughout this period. Without your patronage, even when times are hard, we wouldn't be in existence. One of the biggest struggles we had during COVID-19, of course, was the limitations on movement. So even with sales, you have a product, you need to get it to a customer, you can do so. Also in terms of logistics, getting our product from the farm, our raw material from the farm to our roastery, which is based in Accra, to be able to roast and then deliver to our customer was also a challenge. And of course, with everybody being on lockdown, even with our online services, you find that the customers don't even want to have it delivered to their homes because they are not sure, where it's coming from in terms of just safety, and everybody was very safety conscious. So those were some of the challenges that we experienced during COVID-19.
So you had a drop in sales.
Yes.
Are things picking up?
Yes, they are.
That's good. That's good to hear.
The good part was during the COVID period was when we had our largest purchase of raw material from our farmers.
Okay.
So we were able to at least secure our raw material and ensure that they were also empowered, because one of the core principles of our company is to ensure that we are providing access to markets to our farmers. That's a key critical part of our business model. And therefore, we're very excited that we're able to continue that despite the difficult circumstances.
Great. Now, Alex, whilst a lot of people say, business wasn't good, we read the news and we hear that in the fintech space, digital transfers or digital money growth, 120%, 130%. And it leaves me to conclude that you are in quite a very pretty place, a very comfortable place, because if the industry is growing, you are growing because that's where you play. Is that the case?
Well, I mean, yes, that's very much the case. Before COVID, so if you take a company like Haptel, we're traditionally sending SMSs for small businesses and large ones as well. So, I mean, a lot of businesses depend on us to send out messages to their customers. So, just before the lockdown was imposed, we saw an uptick in messages that businesses were sending. I think there was about a 40% rise of that. During lockdown, we saw about 40 to 50% dip in messaging, in sales, in our retail business. But then again, something interesting started happening. Our e-commerce business traditionally was a very small unit. It was just starting out. We are just starting to convince a few retailers to try out some of the products that we started rolling out, like our POS solution that can enable a business to, dial up a delivery. The delivery person will show up at their storefront, pick up an item and deliver to a customer, or encourage a customer to try to buy online. That business was just taking off very, very slowly. During lockdown, thankfully for what the government did by allowing e-commerce companies to continue to operate even during lockdown, we started seeing a strong uptick. I mean, food sales was up over 400%. People were ordering a lot of food. People started ordering personal effects from some of the retailers on our platform. After COVID, yes, you're right, we're seeing almost 200% uptick in electronic payments. Just before COVID, or during the lockdown, we had dropped on this by about 40%. After COVID, it's just going up and up and up, which is an indication that something interesting is happening. So if you're running a business today and you're not considering people paying you online, you're not considering using the communication tools that are available, the WhatsApp, the new tools that companies like Haptel are building to help retailers sell directly to customers, you're really missing out, because that's where everything is moving to. Customers are now more awake to the convenience that this brings. We're seeing new customers every day. Well, I mean, a small platform like Haptel is seeing about 120 new customers every day on our platform, buying new things, and it's becoming a repeated cycle. So something significant is shaping out. The underlying infrastructure or backbone for this has been in place for years. So mobile money has been a popular way to pay. Bank cards have been around for a while, but now people are looking at these payment methods as perhaps this is more convenient. I mean, just from coming from here, I paid for a car wash with mobile money. 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't even have considered that. And I just had to ask the guy, do you have mobile money? He was like, yes. As if he was like, yes, everybody has mobile money. So things are changing. And I think it's time for retailers and small business owners, as well as large businesses, to consider, joining that shift.
It's good to know that things are changing for you. I want to know whether it's the same for Gwen. How has it been for you within this period?
All right. Thank you very much. I have a very common philosophy. A market disruption can either take you to sleep or wake you up from one. Whichever way is going to challenge you to look at things differently. Now, Hair Center. Hair Center is a brand that was built purely out of social media. So when COVID-19 hit our shores, of course, the lockdown occurred, physical stores were shut down. We went home. Whilst at home, I had the chance to introspect. And then I said to myself, well, offline marketing is not a thing anymore. But one thing that is still open, that has still not been affected by the pandemic, is the internet. Instagram is still working. Facebook is still active. LinkedIn, all these platforms are still functional. Haptel is functional. So you're either going to sleep and wait for normalcy, or you're going to leverage on the open opportunities to scale. So I have a little room in my home with, some little items. What I did was I moved everything, and then I took bags, Hair Center bags, and then rearranged the room. I needed 2 things: a smartphone, internet, and maybe a third, light. Light is good for content. And then I started filming. Now, those that follow me on social media know I have a classic entrance. I go like, hi guys, welcome to the Hair Center. At home, I was able to telecast live. And I tell you what, sales were better than they were when we were actually in the store.
Even when there was a lockdown and people were not going for weddings, funerals,
surprised.
events, and
Let
they
me
were
tell
still
you
buying
something.
hair.
I remember, that's a very interesting question. I remember, when we advertised before we went on lockdown to say, oh, you know what, now that you're home, your husband is going to be around. These busy men, they don't have the time to look at your hair and all of that. Here is a unique opportunity, where you're going to be able to show off and let him, see your worth. And then somebody sent a DM and said, Gwen, how can you say that? It was almost like blasphemy in her ears. That, how could you possibly tell people that in the heat of this pandemic, they should be thinking about how they're going to solve this, but you're thinking about beauty? I'm a salesperson. The mask, it covers here. This is still seen. As, the people that are sitting across from me, they have masks, but their hair is not covered. So you need to understand your business model. Now, a lot of people shopped and said, you know, we'll pick it up later. Why were they comfortable shopping from us? Simple, trust. Now, why MTN Mobile Money is successful is because it's a solid brand. They have a track record, okay, that they've been able to build trust long term. So when they incorporate payment systems and say, oh, now we have mobile money, people embracing that is going to be easy. Now, he said e-commerce, okay, was flat. It wasn't so, you know, and it still is to an extent, you know, in Ghana. Why is it? Trust. Key element for e-commerce to be a success is trust. So if brands are going to build that trust, okay, within that space, I think there's going to be a shift. Now, the hair center opened the first virtual call center for hair. Agents, okay, you come into our showroom and then there are agents. We shut everything down and then we organize a sale. We have Kenya, we have Germany, we have South Africa, Liberia, everybody gets on there to shop. And how do they pay? Mobile commerce. So a brand uses social commerce, takes up mobile commerce, puts it together, creates excellence, and serves the customer. Because at the end of the day, what the customer wants is an experience, an exceptional experience that is convenient. So companies that are more focused, okay, on providing excellence or convenience to their clients are the ones that actually are successful. Success should be aimed for the customer and not for you. Once you have that strategy in mind, believe me, you're going to sail in the midst of a pandemic, because we did it, and I believe other brands can.
Thank you very much, Gwen. You've actually answered some follow-up questions I had for you, but we'll still attend to those as we have the conversation. Now, the last person I'll talk to in this round of questions is Violet. Violet, I've used Skin Gourmet before. I love them. Made in Ghana, shea butter, cocoa butter, authentically African. How has business been for you?
Well, to be honest, God has been good. And I think that's because we manufacture raw handmade skincare, sourced in the wilds of Ghana, and it's so pure you can eat it. The key there is Ghana. Because we choose to source from Ghana, our packaging, our design, our raw materials, during the lockdown, it was a lot easier for us in terms of sourcing. So we didn't have to deal with a lot of the problems that a lot of maybe other cosmetic or food companies have to go through. Also, one thing we learned is that because we are more focused on export, a lot of our channels are based on social media, on email, on Instagram. So I believe that COVID-19 really helped us in terms of stepping up our social media game, which has really been fun. So initially I was like, yo, I'm getting too old for this TikTok, Snapchat. Now I have all of them. And it's interesting because we just keep learning. I found COVID to be a challenge to be overcome. Not necessarily something that was there to kill us, but like Gwen said, either sit up or go to sleep.
Okay, that's so for you, this period helped you to take up social media more seriously and grow within that particular space to reach your audiences, right?
Yes, we were already in that space. Like Gwen also was saying, we started on social media. So, but the only thing was that we concentrated on fewer platforms. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, a lot of people had advised us that it's better to be on as many platforms as possible. But COVID-19 basically said, it's true.
This is the MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting. We are talking about the changing face of the retail industry in Ghana and globally. And my guests, or my panelists, Kosi Yankee Aye, Executive Director for NBSSI, Emibeth Akukwansin from Kawamoka, Alex Bram, CEO of Haptel, Gwen Jima Ado, Founder and CEO Hair Center, and Violet Amoabeng, CEO of Skin Gourmet. Now, I'm going to come to you, Kosi. Innovation. You've been interacting with a lot of small-scale businesses. They're applying for money, they're applying for funding, and obviously they have to prove why you need to give them the funding. What trends are you seeing when it comes to innovation, and what opportunities are there for us to jump into to help us drive growth of businesses?
Sure. I think that one of the things that this pandemic brought along was innovation, and I heard the other panelists talk about some of the innovations they've had to bring on board. And I think it's quite clear when we look at the 800,000 plus applicants who applied for this stimulus package, and you realize and you see that a lot of them are looking to innovate and change the way they do things. And so you're seeing different segments of those coming in who are innovating the way we wash hands, the way we use what sanitation is all about, especially in the water and sanitation aspect. So there's a lot of innovation going on. And the beauty of it is that we're seeing a lot of innovation coming from the youth as well. And in some of the most random places or in places that you wouldn't have thought. In most instances, a lot of people think that a lot of innovation happens in the universities or in labs when they're giving the opportunity. But then you'd go into various communities in Kumasi, in the Ashanti region, and you'd see people innovating the way we wash our hands, the way to use solar energy to support the work that they are doing, to cut down on electricity, to be able to ensure that we are all adhering to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's amazing, you know. So there's a lot of innovation happening on that side, and the water and sanitation side. There's also a lot of innovation happening in the way people do their work. And we've talked about it. How do you innovate in a time like this? Because as my other panelists said, it's either you indirectly sink or you swim. And everybody's trying to swim. And so when you see that happening and a lot of people trying to swim, the best way to swim is how do we innovate at a time like this? How do we change the way we've done things, make it better, make it different, add value, and then give it to the people who need it? And so there's a lot of innovation happening with other sectors as well, some of which have been shared here. You'd also see the way people are innovating to even sell their products. And it's really important when we talk about the whole digitalization transformation, trying to transform the economy, trying to transform the way MSMEs work. All of that is bringing a lot of innovation in how people are marketing their products, how they are selling it, how they are showcasing it, how they're even packaging it. Because you need to package it differently if you have to reach out to people who are not entering your shops anymore. And so we see a lot of that innovation, and we see a lot of people coming in or even asking for funding to really scale up that innovation. And I think it's really important and key for us to take notice of that. Even at NBSSI and a government agency, we realize that the innovation is not only with regards to the MSMEs or the businesses, but also as a government institution, how do you innovate to address the needs of the Ghanaian people or the MSMEs that are the backbone of the Ghanaian economy? So we've been forced to innovate in the way we also deliver our programs, the way we work with other partners, the way we design the programs that we implement, and realizing that there are certain things that we've done over time that should not be done, but rather for us to be able to accelerate the businesses we're working with, we as an institution need to innovate and come up with new ideas and ways of delivery and implementation. So there's a lot of innovation happening, both from the government side and also from our beneficiaries and the MSMEs in the country.
Thank you very much, Kosi. This is the 29th MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting. We'll go for a quick break. When we return, we'll get into the business of buying and selling. We'll get into the business of e-commerce. And we'll learn about the new things that you could do to help you sell more, reduce your cost, and also expand your businesses. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
At MTN Business, our vision is to be your ICT partner of choice for geographic and market expansion. To enable and inspire growth, we wish to lead African businesses into the new and bold digital world. We wish to help their businesses to grow beyond their existing boundaries and to unimaginable heights.
We needed lease line and internet solution for our customers across the country. 3 service providers were unable to deploy the service as required. Then MTN Business came to our rescue and deployed a customized solution in record time. A partnership with MTN Business has given us a platform to expand our business across the country.
MTN Business, your trusted ICT partner for business growth.
Welcome back. This is the 29th MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting. We are talking about the changing face of retail in Ghana, scaling successfully with innovation and e-commerce. Before we went on the break, you heard from the Executive Director of the National Board for Small Scale Industries, telling us about the various things that the state is doing to help MSMEs get back on their feet, funding of over 750 million Ghana cedis, a lot of programs rolled out to help businesses innovate and get back on their feet. Now, I'm going to talk to the 4 other panelists purely about the retail space, purely about e-commerce, and what you need to know if you want to roll in that particular space. And I want to start with Alex, because Alex, you are the platform guy, and you've been doing this for well over 10 years, so you understand how the platforms work, how the systems work, and everything. What are the fundamentals any business needs to have to enter into e-commerce and be successful at that?
Okay, so one of the misconceptions about e-commerce is that you need to have a website, have your items on it, and allow people, have a shopping cart. People will come through. It is just one aspect of e-commerce. In fact, if you look at Ghana, I would argue that a lot of businesses, micro enterprises, people have been engaged in e-commerce for quite some time. Like recently, I needed a carpenter to do some little work for me. So someone gave me a number. I called up the carpenter, described what I wanted. They went to the site, measured it. Then they gave me a quote. I sent them money via mobile money. And then they went and delivered the work. That in itself is the basic foundation of e-commerce. What that carpenter is doing is e-commerce. And there are many people. I have friends who have mechanics on call, people they have never met, but the job gets done. The guy will show up, pick up your car, take it there, do it for you. You never get to meet him. That's the basic format for e-commerce. I would say that for any business to get into e-commerce, that business has to look at, first of all, its needs. I meet a lot of business owners that do not assess their needs. So there are business owners that just think, I have to get a website. I have to go register a domain. I have to pay a developer. I have to find a host.
So domain $12,
yeah,
hosting $60,
yes,
developer $1,000.
I think you've done it before. So a lot of business owners think that they need to do all that. What I do is, what I have come to know is that the businesses that become most successful in e-commerce are those that understand their needs first of all. Like Gwen was talking about how she changed it all. She figured that she would need to engage her customers, and then when the buying comes, she's able to take the money, she's able to deliver. That is e-commerce for her needs. E-commerce is not just a website. So first of all, businesses have to assess their needs, what their needs are. Do you sell more in-store? There are some businesses that e-commerce will never take off if there's no face-to-face. Your customers need to see you, feel you, smell you before they might even order from you. We see that a lot in the food business. Yeah. So if you're, say, running a restaurant, you would need a tool that can enable you to both sell in-store, sell online, and also sell on mobile. So you have to assess your need, because people have to have come to your shop or your restaurant to know what you're selling. So for example, if you're using, we built a tool for restaurants where you can sell in-store. So when you walk in, you can place your order and it goes through the same system. You can order from the same menu and the same inventory that's the restaurant is selling in-store. You can do the same thing online by yourself. A delivery rider will be notified and then pick it up. You can also call, and then the business will set it up in there. That's what works for that business. So the first thing that I would advise businesses to do about e-commerce is that it's just like commerce. It's just like traditional commerce, except you are now using more electronic tools to achieve the same thing at scale. So if you can organize it like Gwen did, that's classic e-commerce. If you can organize anything that can help you achieve the same commerce at scale, you are doing e-commerce. But if it doesn't help you achieve scale, then you have to look at other options of getting the same.
Now, Violet, you started primarily online. Skin Gourmet I saw on Facebook, I saw on Twitter, and then I saw on Instagram. And I was like, wow, this looks good. Packaging on point, messaging on point, and then I bought. For people in your industry, they sometimes make a lot of mistakes in delivering their goods to the people online. What are some of the things that we must do right? And I'm talking about the cosmetics industry because, for example, the small-scale cosmetics producers are also competing with the bigger multinational producers. So how do they scale using e-commerce based on the lessons you've learned over the past 5 years?
So I believe that with e-commerce, because you're not really seeing the customer face-to-face, it's a lot about the customer experience. So for example, here in Ghana, you can have an issue like you give an item to a rider, it gets there, maybe it's the packaging is ruined. The first thing is you have to make sure the customer will be pleased by how you react to it. So either you change it for the customer, you give the customer a refund, you should go over and beyond so that even though the customer ordered online, they can feel that customer experience. So it's really important that your packaging is on point. So due to COVID-19, we had to innovate our packaging even more to put an outer layer so they knew that it was safe. We had to make sure that we spoke to the clients. Our dispatch services changed so that they could tell exactly where the package was. So we had to just do all these different things so that even though the customer is far away, they feel closer.
So if you want to do e-commerce, one key thing you have to look at is your logistics, right?
Yes.
If you don't get it right, so if you're in the food business and you are going to do your deliveries yourself, you need to train your riders to handle the food right. If you're not going to do it yourself, you need to get the right dispatch company to deliver. For those of you in the cosmetics business, a lot of heat, shea butter may melt, so you need to do your packaging right.
Exactly.
Wow. So
exactly. But also on top of that, I think what it might be a bit different is that in the cosmetics industry, you do need a website.
Okay.
There are so many opportunities that we've gotten because we have a website. And the reason for that could be that, with cosmetics, it's something you're putting on your skin and your body. So a lot of the consumers are very conscious about what they're buying, where it's from, and the story behind the brand. So you need a website in order for you to be able to explain to the customer why you have a unique selling point, who you are, why they should trust you, and why they should try the product. So for us, a website has been really necessary, but that's for this particular industry.
Now, Gwen, your earlier submission took me to audiences, understanding your customers and audiences and engaging them, because you said you shut shop and then you had, what do you call it? A virtual,
yes.
What do you call it?
Center.
Call center.
Yeah, for
well,
here.
So your main vision or your main reason for doing that is to ensure that customers got their answers when they asked questions and they got their needs met and they had somebody at the other end of the line dealing with them if there's no physical shop. How do we deal with audiences? How do we find them? How do we understand? I don't want us to go too technical so that everybody will get us, but how do we use the analytics to inform business decision to drive growth?
Okay. So basically what you're asking is how we communicate with our target markets.
Yes, and to keep them glued to the brand.
Keep them, okay. So first of all, you need to understand who you are. You need to ask that question, who am I? Who am I serving? Where are my customers? Okay? It's very important we understand that. Because a lot of times, if we don't, we're just going to go round in circles. And a lot of times we lose businesses to other companies, not because they are better than we are, it's simply because they clarify their message. They made us know that this is what we do, and these are the kinds of people that we're targeting. Now for Hair Center, we are a social brand, okay? We leverage a lot on social media to move our products. So when this pandemic happened, we saw the need to wake up and also to actually leverage on that platform. I actually posted on my personal page and said that, listen, more than ever, we have a lot of people online. And so it's very important that we use that tool heavily to connect with them. Because if you're not doing that, somebody else will.
Okay, so if you don't connect with them, somebody else will, and that is business that will be denied you.
Yes, because you see, there's a plethora of competitors on the market.
Yeah.
Okay. Every day there's an influx of new faces, new, businesses, and so people consume content very fast. They consume content, they throw it off, and then they want something new. So don't allow your customers to go to sleep.
Okay.
Consistency is key. Okay. Now, a lot of times I say that building businesses in Ghana is not a problem. What is the problem is sustaining those businesses,
okay,
sustaining the interest, sustaining, the momentum. Once they hype you, they go to sleep. So in Ghana, we all know that the standards are not so high. And so if you do something different, it's very easy for you to become, a guru. So I always say that you can become a local guru and a global bulu. They place you on international stage, and then you start fumbling because you have not really identified yourself and then your market.
So consistency
is key.
If you look at traditional marketing and traditional advertising, where, for example, every town you go in this country, you see something branded MTN. So it brings your attention to the fact that you need to use the best network in Ghana, which is MTN, right? So online, you also need to consistently be engaging people, because if you don't do that, somebody may take their attention and you lose out on a sale.
Yeah.
That's quite profound. Now, let me come to you, Amy. You sell coffee, and I'm trying to wrap my mind around how you can be successful selling coffee using e-commerce, because I know that coffee is a bit of a classic drink. So people would want to sit in a pub or a cafe, have their cups poured for them with the heat just rising, and enjoy. How are you coping with this particular period, and how are you using e-commerce to drive sales?
I think it's been said by the other panelists quite clearly that digitization means different things to different people. But central to that is the customer experience. That's really what digitization is about. And e-commerce gives small businesses in particular access to customers that you would ordinarily maybe not have access to, or who would not learn about you. Indeed, in the food business, it's very personal, and people want that experience. So the question becomes, how do you then change that experience online, or provide that experience online? And what I discovered over the period was that you don't have to do it yourself. There's a lot of drive for, social media especially, to let people into your homes to see how things are going. But you might not naturally be somebody who does that. So I found that tapping into, the young digital natives, as I call them, who grew up in this millennial era where they are very good at social media, is one really good way of using or being digital. So you use these young people who understand social media better, and then they can create those experiences. So for example, you'd be creating content where somebody is drinking their coffee and you can see the steam coming out. You can describe, what the taste should be. So you'll see that in our packaging, one of the things that we do is innovation with indigenous flavors. So we have prekese coffee, we have dawa dawa coffee, we have ginger coffee. And how do you describe to somebody who hasn't drank dawa dawa coffee what it tastes like?
Yeah.
So that's some of the digital experiences that we bring to bear by describing how it tastes like chocolate, for example. The smell is enriching. You smell it. There's a certain smell to it, and then you describe that through digitization. Another thing that our young digital narratives have been doing for me, for example, is creating recipes. So you'll find that they'll do like coffee ice cubes or popsicles, as they call it. They're doing coffee with Oreos and ice cream. I'm like, I wouldn't drink that, but for them, it's a way of showing how drinking the coffee beverage has evolved. It's not just, for me, I would drink it without sugar, without milk. I drink it straight, but that's not what everybody's preference is. So the question is, what does the customer want? It's not necessarily about what your preference is or what you believe should be, but how do you then appeal and demonstrate to the customers that your product has different uses and can be used in various ways.
That's key. So telling the story right to to change the emotional connection the person has with the brand to a positive connection.
Exactly.
Great. Now, there are a lot of comments coming through. I'll read some from Facebook and others from the other sources. Now, Evita Joseph Asari, I know her. She's in your industry, Violet. She's in your industry. She says, know your customer. That is great. Shady Lashard says, sustainability, that is key. And this is to buttress your point, Gwen. And Perpetual Betsemete says, consistency is all business is about. You need to be consistent. And Elizabeth I says, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Great insight on the topic. Now, some more comments. Samuel Brifu says, Gwen's business insight is 100%. And Yawa Selome Gauga says, we lose customers to competition, not because they are better than us, but because we do not know our customers. And this is Yawa quoting Gwen word for word. Now, Pauline says, consistency and trust is what is key for e-commerce, because when people don't trust your brand, they will not want to prepay you. And, yeah. Now, Christine says, whenever you want to buy online, try and pay on delivery. It helps a lot. So it brings about the issue of trust. Sometimes you pay, the product comes, it's not as you saw it online, but you've already paid, and it becomes a back and forth with the people selling it. Now, Alhaji Abdul says that we need to have more farming companies to also talk about e-commerce. True, because farming is big. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Yabi Asari says sustainability is a huge challenge. We're getting lots and lots and lots of messages. Now, I'll read the rest of the messages, but somebody is talking about popsicles. Mame Adra says, popsicles, yeah. Okay, let me read two more before I come back to you guys here. Now, this message from Karin Soa says, shouts to Skin Gourmet, great brand, and I love using them online. I like buying from them online. Okay, so you're getting some good props here. And Ni Otu Amo says, what is a moving business that I can do now? Please let me know. What is a moving business I can do now? We'll get to those ones. But there's a big conversation about e-commerce. You know, people post products and services online, and they'll say DM for prices. Yes, so you post a product or a service, and people ask you and says DM for prices. How do we approach the money business online? And this is about pricing, one, and also payments. Some people prefer to pay on delivery. Some people also prefer that customers should pay them before they deliver. In the bigger money conversation, how do we approach it? And are there trustworthy platforms that allow people to pay securely in this particular country? I'll come to you first, Alex, and then Emmy, Gwen, and Violet, you can enter this particular question.
So just like traditional commerce, trust is very important. So, I mean, I talked about a restaurant, for example, that wants to do e-commerce. You'd always will have to start with the people that know you, the people that have seen your restaurant and come in and interacted with you. So trust is very, very important. What we're seeing on Instagram and co, DM for, someone will drop on a WhatsApp group price and say DM for, some have brought some trust issues into question. So, I mean, a lot of e-commerce, or Instagram themselves, I know, are looking at that space because there's been a lot of complaints. You buy, pay, and then you'd go again, the account is not there, or there are issues. So trust is key. You have to buy from brands that you know. There are also brands that, you already know, but they will still trust you, the customer, enough to send you something, then you pay cash on delivery. There are several models for e-commerce. I mean, it's a whole hot new space. I mean, we have just scratched the first few days of the next 100 years that we're all about to transition to accepting and doing business electronically. But yes, trust is very, very key. On Hubtel, for example, what some of platforms like Hubtel will do for you is if you pay, there are several options for you to get a refund, either through your if you pay with mobile money, you can report to the network, you can report to the aggregator, or you can report to the business, but there are several options for you to get a refund. But yes, trust is key.
I asked about the money bit also because, for example, my mom, even though she has mobile money, she would prefer I send her the money, then she'll go and withdraw cash and keep the cash for her payments. When you tell her, oh, Abna, you can buy this online, so use your MTN Momo, she says, no, they may take my money. And so I asked, are our payment platforms secure enough? Should people be rest assured that when they are buying from Kojakuto and Sons online and they pay with MTN Momo, it's secure enough and that Kojakuto as a vendor cannot have access to their Momo and take their money like my mother fears?
The truth is that, in fact, electronic payment is even safer than cash. If you show up somewhere and you just pay cash, there is absolutely no trace. If the people are not trustworthy and they disappear with your cash, they have really truly disappeared. At least with electronic payments, there are several chains and there's several opportunities for you to. My mom also has the same problem. You send her money, she'll go and cash it, send some to her bank account because what she knows and trusts is cash and bank account. But with time, these things will disappear because we have a whole generation now that were born with mobile money. Their school fees were paid with mobile money. Remittances, transfers were done on mobile money. They're going to be growing with that culture, and as they take over, we're just in the first few days of like I said, 100 years of electronic payments and electronic transactions. So I think we should all strap in and enjoy this ride. It's going to be fun.
Violet, DM for prices?
I think, again, that has to do with the customer experience that you're affording people. So, first and foremost, customers don't like to read. So even if you put the price on there, unless it's in the picture, they're not going to see it. They're still going to ask you, please, I need the price. So it's about how you address the customer. So instead of asking the customer to do something else in order to buy, how about you take the initiative and actually DM the customer and give them the price?
So one, you need to put your price on your artwork. Because
on the artwork boldly, but you see, once you put your price on the artwork, people don't like numbers. So even with like Instagram algorithms, your image will not be as attractive. Okay. So the idea is to go with an eye-catching image, and then when the customer reaches out, then you reach out to finish that sale. Let your customer do as little work as possible, because all they want to do is scroll down with their thumb. So you want an image that will stop their thumb. Once you get them to stop their thumb, that image in the algorithm for Instagram or Facebook becomes more popular because they can see that people are spending more screen time. So I would not advise you to put text on your image. I would say that just make the image eye-catching enough. The customer will reach out. Even if they say how much, then you have the chance to get in their inbox.
Emmy, do you do that?
DM for price. We actually have a lot of customers not DMing for price, but actually requesting to buy off our Instagram, off our Facebook. Our Facebook shop, for example, has prices. It has our product range. So if anybody goes to Kawamoka on Facebook, on Instagram, you have all that information that's available to you. And just to quote Jack Ma, Africa is going to be the largest e-commerce site outside of China. So with our growing mobile phone penetration, with internet, with people having access to mobile devices, there's a huge opportunity for e-commerce. Again, the question of trust is not just about payments. It's also about the company. It's about the brand. So I don't believe that the trust begins when people are making payments, but you would have developed a relationship where you're talking about, what your ethos is, what your value systems are, and then you back that up by what actually happens after the sale. So whether it's paying cash upfront or using your mobile money, there's already that trust and belief that because this brand stands for XYZ, or like in our case, reliability, sustainability, traceability of our products, when you buy that product, you're assured of a certain quality being delivered. And you find that the more you deliver on that promise, the more customers are then comfortable to make e-commerce payments and be comfortable with having that as their mode of purchase.
Okay. Now, 2 of our viewers will be winning Samsung A20s before we end this particular conversation. Now, so if you are watching, stay connected. Keep your questions and your comments coming through, because 2 of you stand a chance of winning Samsung A20s. Now, if you are also doing business and you need the right platform to help you manage your business efficiently, we have the MTN Business Manager. It's a platform which enables you to manage your business operations very, very efficiently. It doesn't stop there. You also receive a free month sign-up to the MTN Business Messenger platform. And we are offering this to you. Now, to get this, send your business name and your contact information to sales.mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. That is sales.mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. The email is rolling on the screen. You can get that and also get to use the MTN Business Manager platform. So the 2 most interactive people, you are winning phones from MTN today as part of the Customer Service Week. Now, we are going to go to the next question, which would be my last round of questions. And then I'll take your summaries before we go. But before that, there are some questions for Kosi Yankee, which I would want to read and attempt to answer for her in her absence. Now, this question says that, when is the promised support for pharmacies going to be a reality? That is from Doris Atefa. Alaji Abdul says, in respect to the government funds to support small-scale businesses, how well is the awareness to the rural communities, and how are the funds accessible to the rural communities? Ibrahim Mohammed says, COVID-19 affected different categories of people, including persons living with disability. How are we assisting them? Now, the truth is, the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, they have a very vibrant social media presence and also their website. So if you just Google National Board for Small-Scale Industries, their contacts are there, their social media platforms are there. You can message them and they will answer your questions and help you with all your needs when it comes to the work they do. Now, Pius K. Mason says, how are customer experiences measured without the face-to-face interaction? This is a very, very good question. And Elizabeth Ai says, should small online businesses on social media be connected with the likes, be concerned with likes and followers? So one question is likes and followers on social media. The other is, how do you measure your customer experience whilst you do e-commerce? Let's go and start with this, and then we'll get into the opportunities for growth and how you see the e-commerce industry going forward.
Okay. So, Kujo, before I talk about that, I really wanted to speak about
DM for prices?
Yeah. Because that's my field, you know. So, first of all, it's a no-no to write DM for price. Mm-hmm. Because why do you want your customer to burn mental calories trying to figure out what your price is? It's wrong. Why people write that is this, because I know, I'm in the industry, so I know. First of all, when you know your pricing is a little bit, you know, sketchy. We always know. You know, the market price should be about 20 Ghana, but you're selling it for 100 cedis. So you know, if you place it there that this is 100 Ghana, come and see. They will blast you. And social media, you know how it is. Freedom of speech. Everybody will leave a comment and it can affect the way your brand is perceived. And so most of the time they say DM for price, not because they want to do business that way or not because of payment or no, because they don't want others to attack them. The other thing is also fear, okay? Fear of being judged. So I don't want to post price. I don't know what people will think. And the third is fear of rejection. People are afraid they're going to lose business to other people because their price may not be competitive enough. But I want to tell you this, okay? If you're a retailer and you're listening to me and you play on social media, place your price there. But what you need to do is to project the problem. Now, you mentioned that Ghanaians do not read, or they don't like to read. You know, sometimes what we think we're telling the customer and what the customer actually hears are two different things. Why? Because the customer is selfish. They are more concerned about how your brand can make them survive and thrive. And so when you're selling on social media, you always need to place the solution or to project the problem. So if it's skincare, you're going to say, are you, battling with acne? Once I'm battling with acne and I see that first line, my interest is piqued. Now I'm interested in reading, okay? Because it's a customer journey, mentally. So first you project the problem, then you tell them how your brand can help them to survive and thrive. Then the next thing they want to know is the how. How can we be a part of this? Okay, already you sparked their interest. They know you can solve the problem, so they are ready to engage. That is when you hit them with the price. And so they do read. I mean, over the years, I wasn't doing that. I was also doing DM for price, because Charlie, I was also doing my small move. But later when I realized that integrity is key, and you're really making the customer waste their time, and there's a plethora of competitors, I re-strategize and everything changed. They still do ask for price sometimes, but that's just it. You're not going to get it consistent forever. There are going to be a few people who will constantly come up and just say, I'm not going to waste my time with captions. How much? And you need to respond. You are there to serve them. Convenience is for the customer, not you. So you need to go out of your way and serve them the way they want.
So the traditional FMCG business, I used to do FMCG. So based on what you've said, when you enter a shop, there are shelves and the products are displayed and the prices are there. That helps the person to make a decision as soon as they can. If you don't display the product, it means somebody has to go and ask somebody, and that introduces a lot of time in the transaction. Yeah. So DM for prices elongates the sales process, which may disincentivize people from buying. So always put your price there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about the opportunities. Do you have a potential to grow, or where we are is like e-commerce in general? So you can speak specifically to your industry, but e-commerce in general, do you have a potential to grow? What are the opportunities going forward? Okay. We mentioned you don't necessarily need a website. Can I say sell on Facebook, because a lot of Ghanaians use Facebook? Can people do payments through Facebook? Does Twitter allow that? Does Instagram allow that? Even YouTube and TikTok. What are really the opportunities for growth and the potentials for the market?
For me or for
it's for all of us, but I want you to start.
Okay, fantastic. So proof that this works is this man sitting to my right. Now, he said the food area increased by 400%, she said, okay, during the lockdown. And then I said to you that if a pandemic does not put you to sleep, it's going to wake you up from now. Ghanaians don't like shopping online, we know. And I don't personally believe in having your own website. I built one because it was great to have a website. You can flex with that. When they ask you, you're at the hair center, do you have a website? Even the people that ask you if you have a website, they don't go and shop from your website. They'll come and DM you. I believe in leveraging on companies or brands that have established themselves to do this business. They have the expertise, okay? You have cross-selling opportunities. For instance, if I place the hair center, which I'm going to do on Haptel, I not only have, the opportunity of, giving my clients convenience, but I also have the opportunity of cross-selling, because other people may come there to get food and then see hair center and decide to buy some hair, okay? Now, Emmy also talked about something that Alibaba Jack Ma said, basically the emerging markets for e-commerce is going to be big in Africa. But my question I have for the audience listening to me today is, it is Africa, true, but is it African? Is it African? That is, are people who are going to run this Africans? E-commerce can only work if we support it. But you can't hold a cane to someone who is used to going to the shop to buy items, to shop online. You cannot do that. What can, push the system is what happened with COVID-19. You can't shop physically, so naturally you're going to shop online. Another thing that we need to embark on is to educate people. Now, how we did ours was we said you're saving money, we're saving time, and we're saving your life, because you can go and catch COVID-19. Now that rang a bell, and they said, oh, it's true. Maybe we can shop online, So for me, e-commerce is it's something that we really need to subscribe to. But there are lots of things in Ghana we need to do. You know, I'm live, so I don't want to say too much, but Charlie, there's a lot.
There's a lot we need to do.
There's a lot.
Because there's a big opportunity to grow, so we need to do more to get there.
Yes, because you see, best global practice. You can, globally, e-commerce is big. And it's great to import best global practice, but it needs to be aligned with local knowledge. Now, the e-commerce players out there, when you read about them, if you read about Jeff Bezos with Amazon, if you read about Jack Ma with Alibaba and this guy, the eBay guy, India, I'm never able to pronounce his name, India or something. Basically, these guys studied the people. They studied the markets, their mindsets, their need, how the system functions, and then they tweaked it so that, you know, it could work. With emerging markets, our unique advantage is mobile commerce. With our generation, a lot of people have smartphones. So we're able to, you know, access e-commerce using what most people have, which is smartphone, and then data. So MTN, once data is, you know, more accessible, I think e-commerce would also be, and then dash more smartphones, you know, give out more smartphones. That also can help push the agenda because it's all happening on that little device, our telephones.
Okay, Violet.
Yes. So I think maybe I should clarify the importance of a website. It is important to have a website, especially for us because we're global players.
Yeah.
So, for example, with content, when we develop it, we can't put the price there because our product in the UK is different. The price is different in the UK than it is, for example, in Ghana.
Yeah.
So what we focus on is content. So if you look at a lot of our social media, we don't actually do things too much with the product. We show customers recipes, we show them different things, and then you can attach a link. So the link will take them to the website or whichever place they're supposed to go. The reason why, again, I say it's important to have a website, but it's also very good to be on platforms like Hubtel, to be on these other social media platforms, like, for example, Thrive Together, which is a platform where during COVID-19, different entrepreneurs decided, like, this creates a platform for all of us so that we can share our customers, like you were saying, through, you know, cross-reference. But it's still important to have a website because, for example, I went to buy a wig on Instagram. What I saw when it came was not the wig that I had actually asked for. And then I went back and I wanted to look for this website. So now I don't buy wigs unless, yeah, exactly. But I don't buy wigs now unless I know who the brand I'm getting it from and they're trustworthy. Yeah. So what we find also is that if you want to do export, your European customers are not going to buy from you if you don't have a proper website which tells your story, which speaks about your brand, which talks about your ethos, because they need to find out if your brand matches with theirs. And unfortunately, if you're just on like a retail site, that's not going to give them enough information. Also, a website allows you to market yourself. Doing cross-marketing. So for example, somebody clicks to see one of your scrubs. Yeah, they're showing the scrubs, but hey, by the way, we have this set over here. So again, it's also very good for communicating and also telling the customer who you are. Because in a lot of these other retail market spaces, there's a lot of other brands, but it doesn't tell too much about your story, and it's not really about just you. Also, a website, like for example with ours, we have different backends. So you have a backend for the USA, you have a backend for UK, you have a backend for Ghana. So for us who are trying to export more, we find that it's more about the content creation. So it's not necessarily always us posting the product. We post things about how we work in the HQ. You post things more about your story so that your client gets to know and have a feel of you and can fall in love with your brand. But if you always only post the product, the price, the product, the price, the product, the price, then what you're telling the customers, buy, 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 buy. Whereas if you are making the content more about the brand, showing them who you are, you're telling them, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we stand for, I hope you're cool, let's hang out.
That's good. That's really good. So it's not about bombarding the customer with the product price, but letting them experience the product and making them feel
as part of the family.
Live with the product, then they buy.
Yes.
Good. I'll come to you, Amy, and then I'll go to.
So I definitely agree. E-commerce has huge potential. The Africa problem remains the underlying infrastructure. So things like your delivery services, ensuring that they're able to give the product in a form that is acceptable to the customer, and then the back-end customer service that ensures that your customer is satisfied and tracks that satisfaction, whether through, repeat patronage or their own recommendations and feedback. And we find that it's very important to have data on your customers, because ultimately it's data that helps you identify where you're lacking, where you're doing really well, and how to better position yourself. So that e-commerce also helps with that data, because then you have direct access to your customer, as opposed to some of the traditional methods where somebody's picking your coffee from a shelf, a supermarket shelf. You don't know who is buying. So one of the good things about e-commerce is being able to track that data and being able to access your customer directly. But again, the logistics behind that, delivery services, customer services, are things that we need to work on to ensure that e-commerce continues to thrive the way it should. And of course, aggregation is also a big one. So we also joined Thrive Together.store, which promotes made in Ghana products, but not just that, but they also align with our ethos in the sense of that value of giving back. So when you buy from Thrive Together, for example, a percentage of sales are given back to a cause of interest. For example, they've given over 6,000 to KIA to improve their circumstances. And that is something that we align with. And what is the customer's pain points with e-commerce? So one of their pain points, for example, is the high cost of delivery. So you want hair, you want your skin products, and then you want your coffee. But to buy those products individually from the websites or from their online presence means that you're paying high delivery services. So in solving that pain points for the customer, when we aggregate with online platforms that we believe in, we find that it is better for the customer, and we've also seen an increase in sales from those modules. So e-commerce is definitely the future. We need to think of how we can leverage that given the African circumstance, and instill that trust from customers that we do deliver what we promise we will deliver.
We have just about 7 more minutes to wrap up. There were some questions that we skipped, so I'm going to throw them out. Alex, whilst you make your final submission, you may attempt to answer these, or anybody could just take some 10-20 seconds to answer them. One was about how you measure customer experience online. Now, the other question is, should small businesses be concerned with likes and followers? And another one, it's a comment, really. Shady Lashad, it says, the follow-up or customer experience with e-payment companies when things go wrong isn't really streamlined properly. That's what makes people not trust e-commerce. Now, Mami Adjoa Bremba says, Kojo, my question, is it on every social media platform that businesses should sign up? Should businesses sign up on every social media platform? So these are some of the questions that we left unanswered. So Alex, opportunities going forward, e-commerce, the approach. And then if you want to touch on any of these questions, you take some seconds.
Yeah, so the topic the theme picked for today by MTN is it's on point.
Yeah.
Because e-commerce goes directly with innovation.
Yeah.
The thing with e-commerce is that it presents a whole new world it presents you with a very empty plate for a whole new world. You have to design what works for you. You have to think about customer experience. Do you need a website? Do you think you can do it without a website? Do you need to be on an aggregator's website or a bigger e-commerce platform to sell? You have to decide. There are a lot of challenges that you also have to scale, but you need a lot of boldness to innovate around your solutions. There are also some low-hanging what I call low-hanging industries that can quickly just transition into e-commerce, or they're going to have a lot of problems. I'll talk about large service providers. So from insurance companies to digital service providers, these are low-hanging businesses that need to quickly transition to e-commerce, because it is, we can't all go queue just to pay for a digital service. Yeah. Those things should be the thing of the past. And a lot of services like government services are being digitized. We're seeing ECG digitizing their service. We're seeing a lot of service providers going more and more digital. These are the bold new things that we have to do to innovate. How do you measure customer experience? You have to talk to your customers and learn from them. It depends the business you run, but you talked about it being a journey. It is really a journey. You have to follow through with customers, especially at the start. It's really difficult. You have to be there to listen to your customers, what they like, what they don't like, the feelings that they can't even express. You have to find ways to draw it out. And then watch them. What's their pattern? Do they come back? Are they coming back repeatedly? Are they stopping? Are they churning? You have to look at, but e-commerce presents businesses with a big world of opportunities if and only if you have the patience and time to be on it, develop it, work with the customer, make sure that at every step of the way, the experience is as if they have done a face-to-face interaction, that the trust is there, that they can look you in the eye through a website or through your social media pages and still somehow trust you and trust everybody that is in your chain, from your online to your delivery guy that shows up at the door. So you have to build out that experience, and that experience has to work for your business and work for your customers.
Likes, followers, should we be concerned about those?
Yes. Well, I mean...
Okay, Violet is...
Okay, it depends. If your likes and followers are fake, then no, it doesn't matter. But likes and followers are important because they mean that you are driving engagement. Engagement means that you're actually speaking to your customer, you're getting feedback, you're getting them excited. So you'll be able to tell from the content you post, whether, from the likes and follows you get, whether that content is actually hitting your target audience. So for example, with Instagram or even say Shopify, you can actually target your audience, and they'll even let you know how you're doing analytically because of the image or the video that you posted. Now, when it comes to like reviews and things like that, you can easily figure out how your customer experience is if you put in certain apps like Judge Me. So for example, if your shopping platform is on Shopify, there is an input there that says Judge Me. So you get an email from your customer after they've received the product, where without any coercion, in the comfort of their homes, they will then rate your service and rate your customer service as well. So then you'll be able to figure out, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Also, it's important to take your customer's information down. So for example, if you get a bad review, it doesn't mean, oh, Onya, forget about it. No. You should then reach out, speak to the customer, find out exactly what happened so that you can correct yourself next time. There was another question that was asked about the business to do right now that will give you money,
yes.
right? Yeah. MTN mobile money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yes.
Money day inside.
Money day inside.
So if you are in a place and you can be a mobile money merchant,
Can you even do a side business? You can have like 4 or 5 kiosks. It is moving right now because people are doing e-commerce, contactless cash. Get on it, man. Get on it.
All right, we are wrapping up. For those who want to use the MTN Business platform, it's an opportunity MTN is giving to you as you participate in this Business World Executive Breakfast Series. Send your emails to mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. Your business name and your business information, and they will connect you to they will enable you to use the MTN Business platform, which is the business management platform. It helps you to enable your business operations efficiently, give discounts, inventory, this, that, everything to help you manage your business and not have to think about employing 1,000 people, an administrator here, an auditor here, this person here, that person here. That's a great service for you. And they also have the MTN Business Messenger platform as well. They are giving you a 1-month subscription for free. So just send your emails to mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com. It's been a good conversation. Look, if we want to talk about e-commerce, we can talk all day and not end. So we'll just wrap up here. I'd like to say a big thank you to all those who tuned in to watch. But we promised 2 phones to the most interactive people who would watch and share and comment and ask questions. Now, the first phone, can I get a drum roll? The first phone goes to Shady Lashad. I hope I've mentioned your name right, whether it's Lashid or Lashad. Shady, you've won a phone.
Good.
Brand new Samsung A20 from MTN. Congrats to you. Now the second phone, drum roll, let's go. The second phone goes to Alex. I'm just kidding. It goes to Faisal Hamid. Faisal Hamid, you've also won a phone. Congratulations to you. And all those who sent the emails, who want to send their emails, send them to mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com, and somebody will contact you and help you also take advantage of the MTN Business Manager platform. It's been great talking to you. Violet, thank you very much for the insights. Gwen, when my hair grows, or when I want to put hair on my head, maybe I'll talk to you. Do you have hair for men?
We have products to help you. I know the areas where, you're trying to grow, but honestly, it does suit you.
Yeah, I'll just go to your Instagram and see the stuff you have for men and we'll talk.
Or DM for us to discuss.
DM us for the product.
Alex, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Really? I want to sit on a seat that sees all the insights and the growth of the industry, and you've enabled a lot of businesses, so when I grow up, I want to be like you. Yep. Now, Emmy, maybe we need to get Osibisa back to change their song to "They've got an awful lot of coffee in Ghana, not in Brazil."
Yes.
It's been great talking to you as well.
You.
And to our audiences, thank you very much for watching. This was enabled by MTN Business, MTN everywhere you go. Whatever business solution you need, talk to MTN EBD, MTN Business, and they'll make sure they give you that solution to keep your businesses going. For your mobile money, for your data, for everything telecommunications, MTN is the leading name in Ghana and in Africa. And they are here to ensure that we get all the services we need to drive our personal growth, our business growth, and the economy of the country. Thank you for watching. My name is Kojo Akoto Boating. For those of you who didn't get your questions answered on the show, we've seen your questions on the thread. We'll try to answer them on the thread. And together we'll build the e-commerce space to drive the value that we want. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep connected to the big yellow world of MTN. God bless you.
Ah!
MTN Business, our vision is to be your ICT partner of choice for geographic and market expansion. To enable and inspire growth, we wish to lead African businesses into the new and bold digital world. We wish to help their businesses to grow beyond their existing boundaries and to unimaginable heights.
We needed lease line and internet solution for our customers across the country. 3 service providers were unable to deploy the service as required. And MTN Business came to our rescue and deployed a customized solution in record time. A partnership with MTN Business has given us a platform to expand our business across the country.
MTN Business, your trusted ICT partner for business growth.
MTN Business, our vision is to be your ICT partner of choice for geographic and market expansion. To enable and inspire growth, we wish to lead African businesses into the new and bold digital world. We wish to help their businesses to grow beyond their existing boundaries and to unimaginable heights.
When it became essential for us to have reliable internet connectivity for our network of 17 branches, our business account manager recommended dedicated internet from MTN Business because the service is reliable, secure, and affordable. I recommend MTN Business for all organizations.
MTN Business, your trusted ICT partner for business growth.